dueling lawsuits as Florida State sues the ACC and the ACC sues Florida State. Yep, you heard that right. We have team coverage tonight breaking down the claims in both lawsuits. Our sports team was there as all of this unfolded today. We're going to be checking in with Allison Posey and Sydney Wicker on campus in just a moment. But we want to begin with sports director Ryan Kelly. He's in the studio this afternoon. Ryan, you were there when FSU trustees voted to file suit today.
As we continue to follow breaking news out of Tallahassee. We have an update now on that suspicious death at the Rolling Hills Apartments on John Knox Road. Tallahassee police now saying foul play was involved, and this is now a homicide investigation. We do not have any additional information about the man who was found dead inside an apartment there or what may have happened. But you can see investigators and forensics crews working there, going in and out of a second floor apartment. We do have a crew on scene working right now to learn more. This becomes the third homicide in Tallahassee in less than 24 hours.
These things happening quickly in courtroom 3G right now. Let's go ahead and take a live look inside.
The verdict form is in its proper order. Madam Clerk, please publish the verdict.
In the Circuit Court of the Second Judicial Circuit in and for Leon County, Florida, the State of Florida versus Charles Adelson, case number 2016 CF 3036B, verdict. Count 1. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1 of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Count 2.
And you can see that is the prosecutor in this case, Georgia Kappelman. She is talking with Mr. Markell, who's standing there in the blue shirt. The Markells have been in court every day of this trial, as they have for all of the previous trials. Word of this first-degree murder conviction coming live just moments ago. Charlie Adelson guilty of murder, conspiracy, and solicitation in the murder for hire of their son, Dan Markell. In Gadsden County, a security guard shot and killed overnight as he tried to stop a robbery. The sheriff's office says it happened just after midnight in Havana at an internet cafe on US 27. Deputies say 2 men, Kelvin Brown and Tyrone Washington, tried to rob the place. The security guard tried to stop them. He shot Brown and pushed an employee out of the way to try to protect her. Deputies say one of the suspects shot and killed him. Sheriff Morris Young called the security guard a hero today. Brown, we understand, is in surgery, and Washington is in custody. To Madison County now. The Greenville area has long been considered a food desert. The only store in town is a Dollar General, so a lot of residents have to drive 10 miles or more to the nearest grocery store chain to buy fresh meat and produce. Now those residents are voicing their frustration. 3 years ago, Governor DeSantis awarded more than $500,000 in state grants to go toward building a grocery store in Greenville, but that project still isn't complete. Our Brianna Shaw is joining us live from the site right now. Brianna, what is the status of construction?
Across the country, communities are experiencing an unprecedented affordable housing shortage. Residents in our neighborhoods knowing the issue all too well. For many families and students, finding permanent housing can be daunting. From extreme rent rates to a lack of availability. During this half hour, we'll explore this issue, talking with people on both sides of the state lines about the challenges they're facing and how leaders are working to find a solution. One of those people include the White family. After a slew of setbacks, they've been living out of their car just to survive. It took a lot for them to come forward with their story, but they decided to share it in hopes it opens eyes and brings about much needed change. Many of the developers producing projects here in town tapping into the college student demographic. Between 2 major state universities and a community college, Tallahassee is home to about 58,000 students. While life off campus brings you freedom and responsibility, many students and their parents have sent our newsroom photos and videos of mold, trash, and leaks in their apartments.
America has been worth it every single time.
It is official. The governor of Florida now in the running for president.
We have reaction tonight from both Republicans and Democrats and a look at Ron DeSantis' career in politics. To this point, Thanks for joining us tonight at 6. I'm Ben Kaplan.
And I'm Julie Montanaro. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis filing the paperwork with the Federal Election Commission today and signing off on a new law that's going to allow him to remain governor during his presidential campaign.
He's expected to officially announce his campaign any moment live on Twitter Spaces with Elon Musk. With DeSantis entering the race, he's now a top contender against former ally, former President Donald Trump. DeSantis' campaign headquarters widely reported to be here in Tallahassee, just off North Monroe Street. No signs up yet, but the office complex a lot busier today.
Turning to other political news now, Florida's governor and GOP presidential hopeful Ron DeSantis returning to his home state today for a campaign stop in Tampa. Just before his rally, Governor DeSantis announcing a group of 60 bipartisan state sheriffs endorsed his campaign. You see on your screen all of the Big Bend sheriffs giving him their support. The only local sheriff not included, Leon County Sheriff Walt McNeil.
Devastating damage with each passing hour. More images coming into our newsroom showing the full scope of Hurricane Idalia as it passed through our region. All of these videos and photos in from our viewers today. We do have team coverage tonight. Our crews spread out in some of the hardest hit communities, bringing you the very latest out of Perry, Madison, and Tallahassee.
Turn to Madison County now and take a look at this photo. Damage at the high school football stadium coming into focus with this viewer photo from Leslie Fletcher. This is such an iconic sign when you go into Boot Hill. And so you can only imagine what Madco fans are feeling today.
Yeah, you know, we obviously see this a lot, both at the football games, but also when we take the weather stem shot of Madison County High School. So a very familiar sight, damaged some by the storm. Our Sydney Wicker in Madison County for us tonight. And Sydney, the side of that damaged scoreboard, devastating to Madco fans. They're going through a lot right now, though, people in Madison County.
Insured losses from Hurricane Idalia continue to climb. Those losses top $159 million already, with more than 17,000 claims filed statewide. We do have some new damage estimates out of Madison County today. At last check, 209 homes in the county sustaining some damage. 71 were impacted, 10 completely destroyed, 53 sustaining major damage. Also, new damage estimates out of Taylor County today. More than 3,000 homes were searched and surveyed. More than 800 of them were damaged. Nearly 430 were impacted, 33 destroyed by the storm, and 49 other buildings sustaining major damage. And the commute on I-10 this afternoon, extremely difficult. FHP reporting a tree fell on top of a car traveling westbound. You see it there near mile marker 207. That's not far from the Centerville Road overpass. At least one lane was shut down at 3 o'clock. No injuries reported there, but as you can see, it did slow traffic to a crawl.
Houck Road, now the center of that cleanup effort after that storm in Taylor County. Tonight we have team coverage as new storms may be on the way overnight into tomorrow. Chief Meteorologist Mike McCall will be tracking those. But first, let's get out to Madison Glazer on the ground in Perry. Madison, what have you seen out there today?
Busting illegal gambling in Leon County. Today, the sheriff's office, along with Florida Gaming Control, served notices to 6 businesses operating illegal gambling. In Florida, any business using a slot machine must be licensed in order to do so legally. But no businesses in Leon County have that license. Our Savannah Kelly joining us in studio, and she was there this morning as law enforcement confronted these businesses. Savannah, tell us what that looked like.
Now, we did ask our viewers to weigh in on that conversation and if they believe the book should remain on the shelves or not. With almost 350 votes at last check, more than half believe it should, 34% say no, and just above 10% aren't sure. Coming up on Eyewitness News at 6, we're going to hear from the author of that book, Brad Meltzer himself.
However, the 60-day legislative session not without its fair share of controversy this year. Several bills involving election laws, the death penalty, and issues surrounding abortion and the LGBTQ plus community, sparking a lot of debate here and even some protests. Taking a look at the new abortion ban, lawmakers passing that 6-week rule on April 13th. The bill does provide some exceptions for rape, incest, and human trafficking, or to save the life of the mother. Now, in those cases, a woman would have up until 15 weeks to get an abortion, but must provide a police report or medical records. As the bill was being debated, protesters rallying around the Capitol, it all coming to a head on April 3rd as protesters made their way inside the Senate gallery as lawmakers were debating that bill. After multiple interruptions, the Senate president asking all spectators to leave. Take a listen.
I ask that we take a 10-minute recess until we can clear the gallery. This is unacceptable in the Senate chamber.
That same day, hours later, several protesters were arrested outside of Tallahassee City Hall, including Florida Democratic Party Chair Nikki Fried and State Senator Lauren Book. The arrests sparking conversations with city leaders on where protests should be held when concerning state issues. Multiple bills surrounding the LGBTQ+ community furthering that divide among lawmakers this session. On Wednesday, legislators passing a bill expanding the parental rights and education law, dubbed by critics as the Don't Say Gay bill. Our Savannah Kelly tracked these bills and several others throughout the entire 2023 session. You can find more of her stories and more on our website or on our WCTV app.
We are counting down the final hours as more than 30,000 students get set to return to the classroom. That number just for Leon County alone.
Yeah, and school bus drivers are double checking their buses and their routes to ensure that the first day will kick off safely and smoothly. Madison Glazer with that story.